Excalibur meeting. We have John and Mark. If you'd just like to introduce yourselves.
Hello, I'm John. I'm the technical director of Star Trek Excalibur.
And I'm Mark, and I'm the creative director of Star Trek Excalibur.
So we're just going to ask you a few questions from the forums, Facebook, and some other places.
From IndieDB.
So the first question is, everyone's eager to know, when will Star Trek Excalibur be released?
Difficult one to answer. The simple answer is that we don't know. We have so much work left to do between now and there that it's really difficult to give a realistic answer. So when we say that we don't know, it's genuine. I mean, we've got a good story that's written, we've got an engine that's kind of functional, and we've got loads of cool stuff in there, but to make it from that point to having a fully functional game is a huge amount of work. So we've really got to get on with that before we can give even a realistic, educated guess. And if we were to start talking about specific dates now, it would just be unfair to everyone, because we don't know. It would be a complete guess. So the answer is, as ever, I'm afraid we're not sure at the moment.
Right, moving on. Second question is, will you be able to land your starships on planets?
Yes, you will. We've not worked out the exact mechanics of that, and a lot of that will be to do with how the scaling of the systems and the ships and all works out, and what's actually feasible on the hardware. But yeah, it's a goal of ours, and we're working towards that.
Are you aiming for seamless transitions?
Yes. Whether or not they will be, but we're aiming for it.
Will we be able to modify ships?
It depends whether you mean inside the game or outside the game. Obviously outside the game you can create, modify and do whatever you want to ships. But I'm guessing that you mean inside the game. It's not going to be like Star Trek Online or Star Trek Starship Creator, where you can bolt bits of things onto your ships and do various other things. And it's going to depend on which game mode you're in. As far as the campaign's concerned, pretty much your ship is what it is. There are other game modes that we're discussing which would have a little bit more of a kind of an RPG element, and that would allow you to kind of move up the move up your career and get new ships, but also to refit ships and kind of enhance them in that way. So generally, it's probably the straight answer is no, but it's not quite as simple as that.
I would add though that you'll be able to. There's nothing technically stopping you in the engine from doing that. You'll be able to modify hard points and stuff like that. Well, you can do it already through code, so there's nothing to stop somebody making a mod that let you do that. Definitely in hardpoints, and also with a bit of thought visually.
Excellent. Will there be non-linear side missions?
You're a good person to ask for that. Basically, in terms of the story is non-linear. Well, it's linear, but it's a branching story, so there are missions that you can do that will change the outcome of the entire, and the flow of the entire story from that. There will also be side missions, and some of those will be kind of based upon the characters that you're, that you're playing alongside, not playing with. That would be wrong. But yeah, so you'll be able to. There will be side missions. Is what we're basically trying to say there. It's not really a massive focus. The main thing that you're going to be doing is getting along with the main storyline. Yeah,
and again, with the structure of these, how the missions are actually handled and interpreted by the game will be very flexible. So if somebody wanted to mod them in, even mod them into the original campaign, I mean, they could do that.
So, what will the player races be?
Playable races will be pretty much any of the Alpha Quadrant powers. So Federation, Romulan, Klingon. Vulcan hasn't got its own fleet, or that's a canon argument and a half. Anyway, Federation. The list goes on. Cardassian. There will be. What else is around? Ferengi. But within the campaign itself, again, this is kind of a gameplay mode question. Within the campaign itself, you are playing a very kind of a set path. So you're playing Federation. When you're playing in quick battle mode, or possibly even in this RPG mode, we haven't really kind of spec'd that up too much yet, but you could be playing various other alternate species. There are certainly many ships from the Alpha Quadrant for you to play as.
A message from Death in the Camp on Facebook. What are some of the ships? Sorry, what are some of the things you'll be able to do in first-person mode?
Well, I mean, I'm probably the wrong person to answer this because I'm not really in control of the actual vision for it. But technically speaking, you should be able to do everything you can do in an existing first-person shooter. With how that ties into the game mechanics of the exterior and the blending transitions between and things like that, that will be something new for this game offers that most games don't have the luxury of offering. But you'll be able to shoot people, you'll be able to blow things up. We'll hopefully have a degree of destructible environments depending on how well that goes.
Hopefully.
Yeah, I mean we've got designs for the technology to do this stuff. It's just how well it performs on the hardware and what when we put together the sections of deck, that's one thing. But putting together the metal sections between that and filling them with conduits and things. If we had fully destructible environments, if you took your phaser and shot a hole in the floor, going through to the floor below, would you actually do that, or what would be in between? Because we don't really define that as part of the process for building a deck, we might have to limit that in the game. I mean, hopefully we'll be able to find a way of doing it, but we can't guarantee that at this stage.
And the other thing to say would be, basically the first person element is far more important in Excalibur than it was ever in Bridge Commander, or pretty much in any other Star Trek game other than Elite Force and Elite Force 2, obviously since they're first person shooters. So the actual gameplay mechanisms around what you're doing, in first person, that affects what you can do with the ship. So if you want to directly take over control of engineering and repair, micromanage your repairs, then go over to the engineering console and actually you'll be able to see the engineering screen. Whereas if you're just sat within, sat over on the other side of the room shouting over at your engineer officer, then you'll get a limited choice of what can be done. It plays a really important role.
I mean, you should pass me that piece of paper.
Yeah, while we're on the subject of interiors, Wolf 0x is asking how much micromanagement we get.
Oh, good. That's a good question then. Well, we've earlier today we've been working. Can you grab the end of that? There we go. On a few little. Mark's gone there. We've been working on a few other little designs and further things. And I mean, here we've got the life support designs, and. We've decided you can manage there. You've got the ability to manage your gravity, your lighting, and the atmosphere in your ship. And you've got the sliders for adjusting those, and Rob has got the ability to select the different decks that you put on them and stuff like that. So there'll be quite a lot of micromanagement ability. Yeah. Oh.
Yeah, you probably wouldn't show that. Anyway, so the micromanagement is something that we've got to be careful. We don't want it to get in the way of the game. So for someone who just wants to pick it up and play casually, they will be able to. But for someone who wants to really drill down and say the forward phasers, this particular forward phaser, I want that to have more power, you'll be able to do that for certain.
Like Steve said over Skype, we're not making a simulator, we're making a game. And that's our philosophy.
And again, while we're on first person, the Vidmaster asks, do we have character customization?
Character customization is not an option for the campaign, definitely not, because we've got a set character with a set story. And although that might not be kind of in vogue at the moment in terms of, you look at games like Mass Effect and Skyrim and all that kind of stuff, you're able to create your own character and then play through a story. But we've got something kind of quite specific, so we want to be able to put really great voice acting against that. We want to be able to put, a convincing character in place. And, with the resources that we've got, we'd rather focus on making sure that that one character is a really convincing and engaging experience, rather than trying to allow you to just kind of create any character. That makes sense.
Have we decided on the name?
Yes. Well, possibly. We probably shouldn't go into that.
Can't give away too much.
Quaron.
Question from Tim Straw 59. Will there be a quick combat feature like in Bridge Commander?
Yes, absolutely. That was one of the best features of Bridge Commander, and it's one we want to replicate.
And how much of an effect will gravity have in terms of orbiting stars and physics engine, and as well as the galaxy orbiting around itself, and just a massive
Yeah, as I said before, we're not making a simulator. But like Gravity FX in Bridge Commander, that mod was a good example of how it can be worked into a game without actually impinging on, you know, playability. So I think that's the kind of mod.
So will the entire Milky Way, well, the entire galaxy, however big we're making it, will that all be just predefined?
I think it takes something on the order of 700 million years for the actual galaxy to turn around, and that's not a scale we can. It's not worth us simulating on any meaningful level. Because
However, when you get down to the level of kind of planets and ships interacting in a solar system, then it certainly makes much more of a difference. So you will experience gravitational pull if you're in a ship and you're near to a planet. That will be something that you've got to take into account. So yeah.
And gravity on planets as well. So will we be able to jump like millions of feet to the sky?
No. Will they be able to jump millions of feet? Only if they're very strong.
frog legs.
Yeah.
That's it.
Excellent. Thank you very much.
Yeah.
And
Thank you all for supporting us for another year.
what he said.